My name is Kaitlin McGaw, and I'm a Go Girl. I got involved in Go Girls as a fan of the program and a colleague of Lynn and Allison, who I think are some of the most visionary creative artists in the Bay Area. I founded Alphabet Rockers around the same time that their Glitter Road and Razz programs were really expanding, and as they started to really focus on creating the Go Girls experience. And so we've been sharing creative ideas both as teaching artists, as entrepreneurs, and as partners to the community. What I'm going to be doing this year is bringing songwriting into the camp. So I've been a songwriter for 15 years professionally, and I'll be able to help the kids understand how do you create a song, even from our 5 and 6 year olds. How do rhymes function in a song? We'll be using beatboxing, we'll be using melodies, we'll be finding our belting voice and writing our own anthems. That's my goal. I've been a professional musician for the past 10 years, and that has included performing cover songs. I have hundreds of songs I can perform on piano and sing. It has included writing my own songs on piano and performing them, and it has included writing and performing for children and with children. And at some point, what the challenge of being a teaching artist is, like, you can't do everything well. And when I realized there was an opportunity to learn more about my role as a performing teaching artist, I started really observing what is the craft of teaching artistry. I went to watch theater artists, visual artists. I watched exceptional teachers, and really started thinking about language, transitions, like what makes a class feel electric. What can I do to prepare myself for all of these moments? And luckily, as a performing artist, you bring in so many of those tricks and of the trade, and I don't think that every art form has that same personality to it, so which is a nice thing, because not every child has the same personality. So it's been really exciting to me in becoming a teaching artist full-time is understanding that the work that I do may speak to like the really loud kids in a certain way, but I don't bring any preconceived notions of that. Or I might have a student that seems like they're really like loud and really into it, and then in another environment they're very quiet. Yeah. But I'm learning a lot about how can I really involve everyone and allow everyone to feel excellent, because there's so many ways to feel excellent within the art form. And I think within theater and performing music, it can get limiting. Like, oh, well, I don't sound like that, so should I sing? Maybe I should just be in the back. Well, when everyone sings together, it actually sounds good, and that's the magic of a chorus. So I feel like there's some stuff like that I'll bring into my work this summer. In my classes, we always explore the elements of hip-hop. So when can you be the DJ, the MC, the B-girl, the beatboxer? So everybody will have a chance to do all of that this summer. And one of my favorite moments is like when I get to see like a child who hasn't really shown that they're like really a dancer, and we have all these different trigger points. It might be like dancing like a letter, dancing like a shape. But just today we were teaching the kids how to dance the robot, which is like, of course, like old school hip hop, but people don't think about it like that. And this one kid, like, I was watching the way she moved, and she really thought about the way I broke it down. And I was like talking about isolating certain body parts, having starting and stopping points. And all of a sudden she was like transformed into this robotic dancer. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys have no idea how cool she is right now. I was really excited. But I didn't, of course, spotlight it that much, because you have to just be like, great job. Who's next? That's really fun. What's amazing about my experience working with kids, especially like kindergarten, sometimes I'll like play a song and have not given all of the lyrics to them and just played it and maybe taught them a few dance moves, and I'll come back and they'll already know the story of the song. And I think this is really an incredible moment for educators to think about how much and parents to think about how much our children are really digesting the silent communication around us, the symbols, the images, the words. Mm-hmm. So that to me shows the power of thinking in our kids. And what I'm excited to see this year is to see like how can we write, what are the images that they really want to play with that may not, like there's going to be the princesses and reflections of things that are, but like how do we want to complicate them, or what's the story that people are craving to tell? And I'm just excited. I have to stay open to it and see what it's going to be. Um, Over the course of working with kids for a longer time, I notice a comfort with knowing how their bodies move. I notice comfort with hearing their own voices. I slowly do moments of having not solos as much as small group ensembles, and getting the opportunity to perform for their peers, which I think is actually really challenging. And for performing artists, sometimes the hardest thing is performing for one person versus like a huge audience. For other people, the huge audience is so, so I like creating all these different dimensions and seeing kind of like how confidence builds. Because to me, that's the underlying thing that happens with my programs is confidence. Kids feel like they have something to say, it's worth listening to, they're beautiful, and they're rock stars. And so that's a go girl. In 2005, I was working at a rock and roll summer camp, and I created it to be also just be for girls. And my thought was girls in music would create and improvise more when not dealing with gender issues in the rock and roll studio, as I experienced and learned to deal with. Men can tend to just have like dominant ways of communicating musically, which isn't always meant to shut people out, but it can be interpreted as something to shut you out improvisationally. So we created an all-girls summer camp, and I really wanted to bring songwriting into that. It ended up being that I started writing songs for 5-year-olds, and it came out as hip hop, and has grown since 2005. I'm now reaching 15,000 kids a year through performances and programs nationally. We have taught 1,600 kids locally with our classes and workshops. And last year alone, we did 70 concerts. So we are definitely like teaching artists of the Bay Area, infusing hip hop education, confidence building, and we do work with boys and girls, mostly preschool to second grade. It's really exciting to bring that to Go Girls and connect what they both are, because I think that there's specific values and communication that happen within Go Girls that are of value to all teaching artists. And so anyone who's coming in and saying, I'm going to bring my gifts, is really going to get a gift in return. So that's what I'm looking forward to.